Prior to joining CPA Site Solutions, I was with agencies that actually specialized in pay-per-click and SEO. So I've been involved in some capacity of pay-per-click and SEO for the last 10 years. So I'm excited to share some tips with you guys and how to get things started. I'd imagine it's very timely as a lot of you are starting to get ready for tax season. These campaigns is a great way to reach your target audience. So let's go ahead and dive in. So here's what we'll be covering today. Obviously, I'm going to have an introduction to what pay-per-click advertising is. I'm going to talk about what preparation needs to go into setting up a campaign. Then we're going to actually go in the nuts and bolts here of actually setting up a campaign and what's involved in optimization. We'll review performance and reporting. And then last of all, if this has piqued your interest, we'll talk about ways, different ways you can execute these campaigns. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the introduction to pay-per-click. So let's dive in here. So pay-per-click advertising, this has been around, for many, many years. And I want to show you an example here, a screenshot of what this could potentially look like. Now, I'm based out of Portland, so this would be this. I'm imagining most of you have done a search on Google. There's other search engines, but Google is certainly the most popular. But it's common now as people are starting to, at the beginning of the year, people are starting to think about taxes, maybe even think about switching bookkeepers, or it's very common for people to go to Google and do a search. And that's usually some part of their customer journey. Pay-per-click advertising is exactly what it's called. It's you pay per click. You pay each time someone clicks your ad. So each time someone sees this ad, just as you can see in this example I've shared, you actually don't pay for that. You only pay when people click it. The thing that I love about pay-per-click and why it could be such an effective advertising medium is I like to call it, it's a pull form of advertising rather than a push. Now, when you think of like traditional advertising, I always go to like TV and radio and newspaper. I call that's your push advertising. You're pushing your message and pushing your advertising in front of people. The cool thing about search is it's a pull marketing. People are going and they're actually looking for you and your services, and you can show an ad to those people. Getting back to the cost of it. So again, you pay per click, but it allows you to have a very a small budget, whether you want to spend $100 a month or whether you want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. You can set that limit, and you only pay each time someone clicks your ad. Another great thing about not just digital advertising altogether, but pay-per-click particularly, it is one of the most trackable channels that you can do for advertising. You can see how many people saw your ads. You can see how many people clicked your ad. You can see how many calls you got as a result and how many people filled out a form on your website or became a lead. You have that very granular targeting ability. Not only can you see the whole customer journey, you're also able to get very narrow on how you do geo-targeting. You can do different demographic targeting. It's just a very targeted and effective way to reach people. Next, let's talk about, so I just that was a quick intro of what it looks like. Again, I'd imagine most of you have done a Google search in your lifetime, but there's a way to, getting back, let me just show the slide again real quick. So you guys have all seen when you do a search at the very top, you see ads. Right below that is what's called a map pack. And then usually below that, sometimes there's more ads, sometimes there's what's called organic results. But we're talking today about the ad portion of Google's search engine results page. Okay, getting back into preparation. So if this is something you're considering and you want to get in front of those people looking for a CPA accountant or looking for tax preparation in your area, start thinking about that. And I'd suggest whether that be a little brainstorm session with you and your partner, maybe it's just you, but you want to think about what does your target audience look like? What's that person? What's their needs? What are potential keywords they could use? Where are they located? And then also think, what are you trying to get out of your campaign? Why do people come to you? Are you great at preparing taxes? Are you good at bookkeeping? What kind of niche and what do people come to you for? Think about that, because that'll help inform what you write in your ads and also what kinds of keywords that you target. And then you'll have to think about, what am I trying to get out of this campaign? What does success look like? Am I trying to get, of course, I'm guessing most of you are trying to get either new clients, new leads. And so, have that. Do you want one client? Are you trying to get one new client a month, two new clients a month? Those are all things that if you think about before you step into these types of campaigns, will help you define what you're trying to get out of it, and can also show you if you're being effective or less effective. So let's talk about, you've done all that brainstorm session. I want to talk about things you want to avoid, and these are very common. I personally looked at hundreds of AdWords accounts over my career, and our team and our company manages hundreds of accounts as well. And sometimes we'll assume management of accounts are already existing, and you'll see a lot of these pitfalls that are very common. So getting back to thinking about what you do best, a lot of people try to be everything to everybody. I wouldn't suggest doing that. You want to focus your efforts in a few core areas that you feel you're best at. If you try to be everything to everybody, it can result in a lot of wasted spend. You can end up competing with some national firms, and that can really chip into how effective your campaigns can be. You want to think about spending as well. How much do you want to invest in this channel? And you also got to think of the economics and how that works out. Just as you can see in this example we have in this image, if you decided you want to spend $30 a month towards this, you'd have a daily budget of $1. And let's just say your clicks were 90 cents as this example, this Los Angeles example, you'd really only get about 1 click a day. It's hard to kind of optimize and see if the campaign's working if you're only getting 1 click a day. Another thing to think about is think about your website. You're going to want to have a good website, and with that, you're going to want to have good landing pages for your website. What's your specialty? Maybe it's tax preparation. You'll want to have a page dedicated to tax preparation and why you're the best, at preparing taxes in your area. And then along with that, you'll have a strong call to action, why you're the best. And then whether that be a strong call to action of a big phone number, or it could be, asking for their contact information, a name and an email, so you can reach out to them and discuss it more. All right, let's move on to, you've done the setup, and guys, this presentation, we can't cover everything within an hour presentation that goes up, setup of a pay-per-click campaign, but we wanted to give you some tips and some ideas if you're considering doing that this year. So let's get into implementation and then optimization. So let's just say you've gone ahead and you've set this up. Let's talk about that buyer journey and what that looks like. And I'm referencing the picture to the right in my presentation. So let's just say someone went to Google and typed in a query, said, look, accountant that helps with payroll. So you can have your ad, this example here has payroll accountant show for that query. And then someone can click your ad, and then someone as part of that journey would click that ad and they'd be on your website, and they can, what we would call, convert, whether that be a phone call or a form fill. So let's talk about, just that as a journey. Let's talk about what goes into getting there and that setup. So you'd first of all set up an AdWords account, and then how the architecture works there, how usually you'll have a campaign. Within that campaign, you'll have ad groups, and then within those ad groups, keywords make up ad groups. So if you decided that your core competencies are bookkeeping and let's just say tax preparation, you'd probably want to have I'd suggest you have 2 unique campaigns for each of those topics and those focuses. And you could even also, a lot of people, it's very common and a good practice to separate your campaigns. Let's just say you're targeting different geos. So again, I'm in Portland. Maybe I have an office in Portland and one in Seattle. You would want separate campaigns in an instance because you'd want to see how your Seattle campaigns are performing versus your Portland campaigns. So those are all things you want to think about as you go into your setup. And then getting back to the bookkeeping and tax preparation examples that I shared earlier, after you've set up a campaign, and then you could break it into further ad groups. After you've done your keyword research, you'll probably start to notice there's a lot of variations of how people look for a bookkeeper on the internet. And you want to separate those based on different themes that you're seeing in the keywords organized into those ad groups I mentioned earlier. And then what you'll want to do is create, it's a good idea and a best practice to have a landing page, a one-to-one relationship for each ad group that you have. So if you have, again, an ad group of bookkeeping keywords, and let's just say bookkeeping in Portland to stay with that example, and you had that ad group, you'd want a landing page that talks about why you're the best bookkeeper in Portland and why people should use you, and then have a form fill, and you want to have that similar topic focused landing page keywords across that whole journey for someone. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about keywords, because it's not always as simple as you think it is. There's 4 different match types that Google allows you to have. And I'll go and I'll talk about each of these in detail. So let's start at the top, and they go broad match, just as it says in the word, is the most broad targeting option available. Exact is the most narrow, and so broad will reach the most people, and exact will reach the least amount of people. But they both, each of these different match types have different levels and different, I'd say, benefits, and also not benefits. Let's start with the broad match. So using that, let's just say you decided you wanted to bid on the keyword tax preparation, and you had this as a broad match within your campaign and ad groups. In this instance, these are the different queries that your keyword could show on. You could show how to do your own taxes, how much tax do I pay, can I claim my boyfriend on my taxes. You can see how some of those may not be as relevant as you want them to be. And when you set up a keyword as a broad match, and this is one of the most common things I see for people that are managing themselves, they'll do all broad match keywords, because those are your default keywords in Google when you set up a campaign. And it can lead to a lot of wasted spend, because what happens is you leave the matching up to Google. If you, again, have tax preparation as your keyword, they can get very loose on how they target your keywords, and it can lead to a lot of wasted spend in your campaign. Let's go down to the next level, broad match modified. This one gives you a little more control and cuts out some of that wasted spend. I'm a big fan of this as a match type when we're talking about keywords. So using that same example, tax preparation, if you put a plus sign in each of those when you're setting up your campaigns, this is called an anchor. And putting that in front of your keywords then says to Google, I only want my ad to show when the query includes tax and preparation. Now it can be in any order, but tax and preparation has to show in someone's query for your ad to trigger. It can give you a lot of the benefits of broad match because you can reach a wide audience, but it can also cut out some of the wasted spend, as you see in the previous example, like how much tax do I pay and can I claim my boyfriend on my taxes? Those are things you probably don't want your ads to show on. Let's move down to the phrase match keyword type. So this one is slightly different than the broad match modified, and again, it gets a little more narrow. Again, if you use the keyword tax preparation as an example, you could show up for a query that says help with income tax preparation, but you would not appear on something for preparation of taxes. The difference between phrase match is those, when you do tax preparation as your match type for a phrase, it has to show in that exact order for your ad to trigger. Otherwise, it won't. So it gets a little more narrow. Let's move on to exact match. So this is the most narrow targeting option available. Usually it's, I don't suggest usually to just focus on one keyword match type. You usually want to blend, and it depends on your goals. Exact match is always a good one, but what happens is you can get really narrow, and with that you don't get a lot of volume. And you got to have a good mix of volume in order for your campaigns to be effective. So the example I have here is best accounting firms. Now, if you chose that as your keyword, your ad would only trigger when someone typed in that exact query in Google. They'd have to type in best accounting firm and your ad would trigger. Again, it's the most narrow type, but it's also going to be very effective. It obviously probably performs the best because there's that one-to-one relationship. Let's talk about what I call those are positive keywords. Let's talk about negative keywords, the other side of the coin here. So negative keywords are things you do not want your ads to show for, and Google allows you to put these keywords in your campaign to control your spend and to make sure that your ads don't show up on poorly targeted queries. Some very common ones that when we set up campaigns for clients, we'll put them in. We have our own negative set of keywords that we'll use with all our clients just to cut the wasted spend. But here's some examples. You don't want, like, you wouldn't want your ad to trigger on tax jobs, salary, free, cheap, DIY. Also an example, you probably want your ad to trigger on software. Some looking for someone like TurboTax. Those people are looking, and maybe you do, but these are all things you can add negative keywords, and it's a very effective way to cut out wasted spend in your campaigns. And it's something you'll definitely want to have in your campaigns. Let's move on to another thing you can do when we talk about optimization. So ad scheduling. We've found that a lot of our clients, it's very common for them to be a part-time bookkeeper or part-time tax accountant. And sometimes they'll have different day jobs. So, or maybe you're not open on the weekends, or maybe you're just 9 to 5. So these are all things you can consider. Out of the box default, when you set up your Google campaign, your ads will run 24/7. It's going to be in your best interest to set up ad schedules on your campaigns to cut out, again, wasted spend. You wouldn't want someone calling your firm when you're not open. And you probably wouldn't want someone filling out a form when you're not available to contact them and work that lead. So you want to be conscious of your office hours and when you can service clients, and set up an ad schedule in your ads to cut out the wasted spend. All right, let's move on to performance and reporting here. So let's just, as an example, you've set up your keywords, you've got ads, your campaigns are running. How are you going to measure success? Getting back to, again, why pay-per-click has become so popular, it's a very trackable medium. If you were to run a campaign, you want to set up these two things. Google allows for what's called conversion tracking. And what that means is, so you can have a metric trigger in your reporting every time someone visits your website and fills out a form. That's called a conversion. And you can implement a piece of code on your website that'll trigger each time someone fills out a form, and that'll trigger as a conversion. What that allows you to do is see where you're getting a return on your investment. What keywords are leading people to fill out a form? And that allows, again, you can see what's effective and what's not effective. Another thing that's very common, especially for local businesses, you want to have call tracking set up. There's third-party softwares you can use, which are usually a slightly better option than Google's default. Google does have call tracking as well, and you can use that. You can get some more features and some more sophistication if you use third-party software as well, though. Just like the conversion example I said, you can actually have a conversion trigger or a call metric trigger in your reporting every time someone contacts you via a call. So this also allows you to see what keywords are driving calls, what keywords are driving form fills. And these are both implemented with different pieces of code on your website. Let me get in a little bit of the nuts and bolts here of call tracking. So if you have, let's just say you have a toll-free and you probably have a local number for your office. When someone goes to Google and they type in a query, let's use tax preparation near me as an example, that individual will be shown a phone number. Now, that phone number doesn't look like your phone number. That's called like a forwarding number. And Google and other pieces of software would assign a forwarding number that forwards to your local office. And so when someone contacts that phone number, it forwards it. And each time that action occurs, Google will record that as a call completion. And you can see how many clicks and how many calls you're getting as a result of different campaigns. Let's into more of the performance and reporting side. So it is very, very important to monitor your performance. I would suggest this advertising channel is not a set it and forget it type model. It's not what you're going to do with TV, radio, newspaper, anything else like that. It's not pay your money, you set your creative and kind of walk away. This is something you need to monitor on a regular basis. There's very sophisticated, mature campaigns can be hundreds, even thousands of keywords. And that's something you want to be doing on an ongoing basis. Getting back to that spend factor, it's very easy to spend a lot of money if you don't have the proper guardrail and not spend it very efficiently. If you don't have the proper setup and you're not monitoring it on a regular basis. Something that always must be ongoing in your campaigns, you need to be looking for new keywords. Google suggests that 15% of the queries they see every day are new queries that they've never seen before. So you need to add new ones positive and negative keywords to your campaigns on a regular basis. It'll help make sure that you're staying ahead of your competitors and also cut out, inefficiencies in your campaign. Another thing that's important is you need to be updating. Google allows, you've all seen the ads and the example that I showed earlier. You're only given a certain amount of characters to write copy. And so it's important that you test this and to be doing ongoing testing to make sure that you're getting the best, what's called a click-through rate. So that's people seeing your ad and clicking through to your website, and that metric, and that it's effective and driving the right results. That's also something you should be doing on an ongoing basis. So reporting. So I mentioned this a few times during this presentation today, but you get the ability to see everything. You get the full 360 view of what people are doing. So you can see how many people saw your ad. You can see how many people clicked your ad, how many people called you, how many people fill out a form on your website. That's all metrics. And then how much money you've spent, how much you're paying every time someone clicks an ad. All of that is available within the AdWords reporting interface. You're able to see that, and then it's something you want to be doing on an ongoing basis to see in performance. Now, as I see also common people that will do this by themselves, will kind of, get excited, set it up, walk away for a period of time, and then come back and be shocked at kind of performance or what the campaigns are doing. But you just need to be ongoing. There's little. I always use the analogy of a garden. You always need to be like pulling the weeds and fertilizing things. Those weeds will pop up on a regular basis, and so you need to be finding keywords that are costing you too much money, or new negative keywords that your ads are triggering for that you don't want them to. I think another part to be conscious of, and this is all something we do as part of our services, you need to think of pay-per-click as it's not a short-term game. You can get returns on a quick basis, but we've always found that those first 30 days, there's a lot of learning that occurs. Finding out what keywords are working with your target audience, what ads are working. And then a lot of your returns are seen after that first month, and that second month, that third month, and ongoing. That's when you start to see some real value and some real ROI from your campaigns, because you have the data to inform you what's working and what's not, and cut out things that aren't working and further amplify the things that are working. So it's something you want to consider. And we always, we manage hundreds of pay-per-click campaigns for clients, and this is something that's all part of the package. Finally, I want to share with you what it would look like if you were to set up, if you were to hire CPA Site Solutions as a partner and to utilize us in pay-per-click, and what that process looks like. So the first part is you have a campaign set up. What that involves is we'd have a kickoff call with you. You'd have that with one of our pay-per-click experts. What we use that for is to gather information from you, like highlighting some of the things I mentioned earlier. What's your location? What areas do you serve? What are your unique proposition values in the market? What are you very good at? What's your brand about? So we have that discussion with you. We talk about what categories you want to target. Again, using the examples I shared earlier, maybe it's bookkeeping, maybe it's tax preparation. That's a conversation we have with you as part of the kickoff call. And then what happens within a 4 business day period, we will share the completed campaign with you. And primarily, we want to review the ads, make sure they align with your brand and with your firm's goals. And then with your stamp of approval, we can get your campaigns live. So you can see in less than a week, you can have these campaigns in front of your target audience and already trying to get new clients for tax season here. Now, after we've done this, let's say you engage us, we've had this kickoff call, we've got the ad going, we're going to do all the legwork for you. We're going to measure whether you're getting a return on your investment from your campaigns. We're going to look at how many calls you're getting, how many people are completing forms on your website, and we're going to optimize and track to your goals and share that information with you. So that's where we get into this ROI measurement and then the continual optimization. So this is something you hire us to do. We do this on a regular basis. We do that gardening I was talking about. We're pulling the weeds, we're fertilizing it, we're making sure that this campaign is working at an optimal level. The last part is we don't do any of this in a black box. You will have we will share with you a monthly report that details all the campaign performance and the results that you're getting. And then we'll also have quarterly engagement calls with you to make sure that we're still meeting your goals and what you want to get out of the campaign, and then just those regular, refresh sessions. So just to tell you a little bit about our company, for over a decade, we've been dedicated to helping account firms do this. You can see we offer not only website design, but we offer pay-per-click services, social media management, and we also offer search engine optimization. Almost 8,000 accountants use us and use CPA Site Solutions. This is all we do. We specialize in helping accountants with their online marketing needs. So we'd love to help you. Obviously, we can. Here's a number for you to call or visit our website, and we'll also be following this up with an email with additional information, and we'd love to start a conversation with you about it.